Alright, what's up? I'm back in the garage, and that can only mean one thing. But actually it means a couple things. It means I finished the Tour Divide last week, and it means we're doing an unpacking video of my Tour Divide setup. Probably provide some commentary along the way about some things that worked, some things that didn't. The setup is largely the same as last year. If you haven't watched my bike check video that I made before the ride, be sure to click that link and check it out. And then also watch last year's unpacking video to see what has changed and what's the same. But before we get into the bike, I think we should start with clothes and what I wore. This is a Bell XR spherical with a Phoenix HM50R headlamp. And this is my second time wearing this down the divide and worked great. Under the helmet, I wore a Randy Joe linen cycling cap. And this was great too. Keep the sun out and any creek or water, just dipping it and keeping my head cool. And for my shorts, these are or not Mission regular weight cycling shorts or casual shorts. They don't have a chamois or anything in them. But this is the second time I've worn them down the divide. I wore them last year and honestly can hardly tell. I wore the regular weight ones as opposed to the lightweight ones just because I thought they would hold up better. They don't dry quite as fast as the lightweight version, but yeah, they just hold up a little bit better. Especially towards the end if you start losing weight. Like the lightweight ones can kind of stretch out, but these held their shape and went the whole way. This is a Lululemon long sleeve shirt. It's perforated, but I think it has like the silver woven into it to help with the smell. I don't know. Seemed to work pretty good. I did laundry 3 times en route, so that worked. These are my boxers, boxer briefs from Calvin Klein, just some synthetic, quick drying boxers. These are a pair of socks that I wore most of the time, which are the Smart Wool lighter weight hiking socks. I do also have a pair of Darn Tough heavier weight socks stowed away somewhere, and so. But most times I was trying to wear these, unless it was cold, obviously. And on my feet, these are Physique Xterra Ergo Lace. They're flat without cleats. I also have a pair with cleats, and these were great this year. I was really diligent about letting my feet air out and dry out, so just taking these off a couple times a day and letting my feet air out. Next up, let's dive into the bike. Let's start at the front. Little bit of electronics. I had InReach Mini 3 and Garmin 1040 Solar and Garmin Instinct watch. And those are my 3 primary navigation devices. I never used my watch for navigation, but I did use it for an alarm waking up every morning. In the top tube bag here, I have Insta360 Ace Pro 2 action cam, and I kept my Sony RX100 Mark IV also in there. Two 10,000 milliamp battery banks from Nightcore, and my wall charger, fast charger, 60 watt charger thing. This is an electric pump, which is from Psych Plus, and this actually came in really handy. The final 30 miles after I finished the last CDT section, hopping onto the road, my tires were just done. They were completely cooked. Sealant spraying everywhere from the front. The back didn't have any sealant and was constantly going flat. And so every 3 miles for the last 30 miles, I was stopping to fill up my rear tire with this Psych Plus pump, just because I didn't want to put a tube in for the last 30 miles. And then actually another rider came up and gave me his sealant, so I was able to add a couple ounces of sealant to the rear, pump it up, and make it to the finish. So, and then also just in this top tube bag while we're there, I have Burt's Bees lip balm. So this is actually the second time it's made it down the route, and a lighter. And that's it for the top tube bag. I have a floating iPhone charging cable in there, and then just the cable that went to my battery banks from my dynamo. So that's that bag. That's electronics. And let's dive into this front bag. First, this is where I have my hydration hose clipped on, just with some little clips there. And this front bag is only held on by this one strap. And this year, rather than a volet strap, I used auto lock, and it's just a little combination band lock. And I did that for primarily because the volet strap has some bounce and some give to it, and this doesn't. And although this is heavier, and I didn't ever use it. Well, that's not true. I locked it around my wheel when I went to a couple grocery stores or gas stations, but I didn't ever feel like I needed the added security of a lock while I was running into a store. But it really was functional to hold the bag onto the aero bars. So auto lock, just a little combination lock. In this front bag, this front roll is my sleep stuff. And so on this side, and this bag is made by J-Packs. This side has my Alpha fleece stuff, and this is just a Alpha Polartec fleece pants and socks. And then is my 40 degree Enlighten Equipment Revelation down quilt. Worked great. Still warm enough. And then my torso length, 3/4 length Thermarest inflatable pad. So this isn't 3/4 length, this is just like torso. And then my secret for this year was 2 pillows. These are both Sea to Summit ultralight, just inflatable pillows. And it was great to have the flexibility of 2 pillows, either to double them up under your head or between your legs with one of them. I don't know. It was kind of one of my favorite things about my sleep setup was 2 pillows this year. So that'll definitely be probably in the move going forward whenever I'm carrying this torso length pad anyway. Also worth noting is that my 40-degree quilt is probably 6 years old at this point, and a 40-degree quilt maybe isn't warm enough for most folks, but with my entire sleep setup, with the Alpha fleece kit, with my quilt, with my bivvy, it just adds extra warmth. Each of those layers adds extra warmth, and I never once was wearing all of my clothes while I was sleeping. So for me, 40-degree quilt is enough, and for most people it may not be. So yeah, so that's the front bag. We already went over the top tube bag. This year I had a what is this, like a 650 700 ml bottle on the top tube here, and this is where I did most of my drinking from, because I don't like drinking from a hose. This is what I would drink first and try to fill up to drink from while I was on the move. And the bottle was held on with this bottle cage from Wolf Tooth, but then these universal hose clamps are from King Cage, and that worked out great. Never had any issues with them. Let's talk about the frame bag next. Starting with the bottom triangle, this is where I always had a blue Red Bull ready to go. Blue Red Bull Juneberry. That's also where I had my 2-liter bladder, and whenever I had the opportunity, I was filling this up to 1.5 liters, and this is obviously connected to the hose, and this water actually stayed mostly cooler, or it was the last water to get hot in the frame bag, so it's kind of nice. And all that's left in the bottom triangle was my repair kit. Yeah, so that's all I had in there. In the top section is where I had food that I was eating while riding mostly, and so all that's in there now is some Nerds. I ran out of food on the last day, second to last day, going through the Gila, basically from Beaverhead Ranger Station to Silver City. I was out of food, like out of food, no food. So everything's pretty empty because I also missed all of the resupply options in Silver City because I went through there during the night, and so I got Denny's and didn't take any food with me. So the only time between Pie Town the only time between Grants and the end that I resupplied with actual food that I took with me was from Sipar trading post. So that was a long push, 250 miles. Yeah. Anyway, in this top section is also where I had my sunglasses. I left my prescription sunglasses in a bike shop in Helena, and they mailed them home to me. But for the rest of the trip, I had just cheap gas station sunnies. And then also in the top tube, top section of the frame bag here, I had my light. This is a Marmot bantamweight rain jacket, which admittedly wets through quite easily, and so it's not like super waterproof or super rainproof anymore, but it was great for windproof and quick packable small wind layer. And then Ornat knit gloves. I wore these quite a bit actually, just to take the chill off of morning or night rides. And that's it. There's a little piece of trash. There's no other food, nothing in there. That's for this side. The other side has a slim mat pocket, but that's also where I kept a bunch of stuff. So these are extra batteries for my camera, for my Insta camera, and for my headlamp. One extra battery a piece. One extra camera battery, one extra Insta battery, and one extra headlamp. This is my pole for my tarp and stakes for the tarp. These are cords and cables for the electronics. Extra USB-C, extra iPhone, watch. Never had to charge the watch, which is great, because this watch is also like 6 years old. This is where I kept my mouth mount for my Instacam. Magnetic mouth mount. So any of the downhill footage, any of the stuff where I didn't want to hold the camera, that's what that was. Also in here is my wad of zip ties, eyeglass cleaner, extra cable for brake cables, and a little clip. If you remember last year, my crank arm kept falling off, and that's because of a few things. I didn't have it tight enough, and I broke this little 2-cent clamp, 2-cent little clip, safety clip that goes on the cranks. It doesn't even hold it on. It just lets you know that you've got the cranks tight enough. So that was like $2, and so I brought that with. Also in this side is my spork. I never used this, never touched it, never needed it. But it's like, what, I don't know, 20 grams, no, I don't know. It's like no weight at all, so might as well bring it. Also in that side are my passport and my wallet, both in little Dyneema bags that I've made. But that's it. That's everything that's in this other side. I should also make note that the zippers started to get a little sticky and a little chunky, and I'm not sure what the actual. I bet they actually make like zipper lube or whatever. But when I got home, I just put a little chain lube on the zippers, and it like they're super smooth now. So that's that bag. On the bottom of the down tube, I carried a liter Nalgene, and that's normally where I kept my Gatorade or any sports drink that I had. On the other side of the bike, I've got, this is a wolf tooth pump with a little plug kit in there. I actually never needed this. I needed the plug kit, but because I had that electric pump, I never needed this. I have used it in the past, and it works great. So, and didn't take up any room on the bike because I had it mounted on the outside with a little mount. Also, while I remember, in addition to my repair kit and that plug kit, in the end of the aero bars, I've got more wolf tooth tools. So in this side, I've got full hex bits and extra chain link, master link in there. And then in this side, I had chain tool and more plug kit. So it's always a good idea to have redundancy out on course. Moving on, this is just a tube regular butyl 29-inch tube with also the Park Tool patch kit taped up and then just velcroed to the rack here. So not exactly a bag. All right, moving on to this bag. First off, it's held on by 2 austere buckles, which are super nice. They don't slip at all. Last year, I lost a couple straps along the way and had to replace them. This year, I went with austere buckles and they held great. So, this is a Rockgeist double-ended small size. They call it small dry bag. In here is my tarp, my tent, and eventually, well, let's just get into it. This is my Gore-Tex rain jacket, shake dry, still going strong, still works. So that's 2 rain jackets that I brought, but again, that first one isn't super waterproof. So next are my Gore-Tex rain pants. I don't know what model they are. They're a few years old. They've never really been truly waterproof, so they do wet through, but they keep me warm. Or they mostly keep me warm. On Union Pass, I wet it out and got cold enough where I did have to set up my tarp and hunker down for a bit, but these are Temerex waterproof rain gloves, and these are almost a must-have. Like, in any condition, I would trust these with my life. And then also I have Pedal-Ed overshoe rain shoe covers. I prefer shoe covers over waterproof socks because that way your shoes don't get wet and filthy and muddy. And these still work. I've had these for 10 years or something. Next up is my Enlighten equipment. It's a 3/4 zip synthetic down jacket. Never wore it. Or did I? Maybe a cold morning. I don't think I ever wore it like riding. Maybe I wore it, packing up or like getting ready for the morning. But again, this is like, a good safety net. If all of the other stuff is wet, this kind of just still works. So, and it weighs nothing, packs up to nothing, so it's coming with. Next up is my Z-Packs Hexamid pocket tarp. And this is an item, I only set up my tarp maybe like 3 or 4 times. Once on the ride to Banff from the airport, and then like 2 other times. And it was an item I was like questioning whether or not I would bring it again. And the answer is yes. It just is like, it's such a crucial safety item. Like, it allows me to push out into weather I maybe otherwise wouldn't or would be scared to do so. So it's like 300 grams for the tarp, pole, and pegs. So it's coming with. And the last item in here is my Mountain Laurel Designs FKT event bivvy. Again, just like my entire sleep setup is something I'm so comfortable and confident with that I love it so much. And that's all, starts with this bivvy. Yeah, I just love it. It worked great. Under that bag I had sit pad, just a foam Z, Thermarest Z, whatever, Z fold, and it's just cut down to fit on the rack, and makes a good fender, makes a good sit pad, makes a good like entryway in and out of the bivvy. And finally, in the 2 micro, small, tiny mini panniers, first of all, they have these elastic stretch pockets. I lost every single thing I put in these elastic pockets. The only thing I didn't lose in there was trash. Ironically enough, like trash just kind of got stuck in there. But in this right pannier, I had my water filter. So this is a 2-liter bladder with a Hydro Pack filter, and I had Ziploc baggies. So these are great for food that you want to keep stashed anywhere on the bike and not make a mess, especially if you get like drink mix, like electrolyte drink mix. Those things, those powder packets love to explode and get sticky all over your bike. So throw them in there. This was my packable musette. I think I only wore it maybe once or twice, but it was great for going into gas stations and grocery stores. It became my bag to load up. And this is another Dyneema little pouch that became my never-ending bag of M&Ms. So when I got more M&Ms, I would just put it into this bag, and eventually in New Mexico they all melted together, and it's pretty gross now. But when I had this, I would just hook it on the front of my aero bars like that and eat out of it. So yeah, that's it for that bag. Originally I started with my chain brush, 2 CO2, and my chain lube in this elastic pocket. And the last time I lubed my chain was in Wamsutter, and then I went to lube it leaving Del Norte and realized I didn't have it. So lost it somewhere along the way, lost my chain brush, lost the CO2, lost my sunscreen at one point. I did buy this sunscreen in Whitefish and managed to not lose it and carry it the whole way, and there's only just a little bit left, so that's really satisfying. And the last bag, in this other pannier, I had that sunscreen. I had my first aid kit / sleep kit. I have my toilet paper / wet wipes. I had clothes that I would switch into during the day. And so this is actually also where I had a pair of Ornat Mission long pants, lightweight, and that's where I had those. Shout out to Matt and Steven over at Ornat for hooking me up with some kit this year. Also in that other pannier, I had my Senshi Designs Alpha Polartec top. And these are those heavier weight, darn tough socks. Pro tip, if you want your clothes to smell good, get like scented body wipes and keep them with your clothes, because the smell permeates. And anyway, this is my sleep kit / first aid. So earplugs, eye mask, bandages, toothpaste, toothbrush, squirrel's nut butter, saddle cream. Never had so much as a pimple or any kind of saddle sore the entire ride. Really fortunate, really, really happy with not having any of those issues. My feet held up great, so that means I was changing my socks, changing my socks and keeping them fresh. So body held up great. Really can't say enough good things about that. So yeah, that's it. That's everything I brought. That's everything I packed. I last lubed the chain at mile 1395 in Wamsutter. Then lost my chain lube and never lubed it again. Never tensioned it again. It was great. Tires held up great. Didn't check pressure until Del Norte. And as I was leaving Del Norte, topped them off to 28 psi. I think they were down to 18. And then never touched them again until I was rolling through Silver City, 130 miles from the finish. Separately, I got punctures in the front and the rear. Had to plug both the front and the rear. All right, that's it. That's everything I brought. That's everything I packed. That's the gist of it. Thanks for clicking on this video. Thanks for all the messages while I was out riding. Thanks for following me. Thanks for following the channel. Thanks for saying hello if you did the ride and recognized me. Thanks for saying hey. Met a lot of cool people this year. So it was a really great experience, and can't wait to take a look at the footage that I shot on the Insta 360. And thanks again. Thanks for checking out the video. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.